Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Somewhere between science and superstition.
We have such sights to show you.
Strange Aeons. Welcome to Strange Aeons Radio. That's Eric Morgard over there.
Welcome to NPR. Thank you.
That's Vanessa Williams over there.
Hi, guys. How's it going today?
Today we're going to be talking about a lot of crazy shit like we always do. But I'd like to start it out with saying thank you guys so much for all of the really nice messages we're getting. I really want to throw a shout out to Langley West, who every episode shares the link. And he's one of the guys behind the Bleedingham Film Festival. Have you guys made it up there for that?
I haven't made it up, but I've had a film in it.
Oh, really? Which one?
Side B was there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. While I'm on this subject, did you know that you can, if you go to our Facebook page, recommend us, or it also seems not recommend us?
Sure.
Well, we had a person put a does not recommend.
Excellent. Hi, person. How's it going?
I don't think she's actually listened to any of the episodes is the problem.
I don't think she knows what we are.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
Actually.
She just unrecommended us on principle.
I think she was trying to, I think it turned out her grandson had joined her accidentally to the page, and then by unrecommending, she thought maybe she'd be able to unjoin or something. And so I would just like to put it out there for all you people. If you'd like to hit the page and hit recommend, that would actually help our number go up a little bit.
I guess that's true. Wow. I did see a little bit of your back and forth, and I think you had a really excellent response.
Oh, well, I'm sure she's a very nice person.
Yeah. No, I mean, it wasn't mean at all, but I loved your kind of like, have a listen.
Check us out. You might like us.
You never know. She might be really into like H.P. Lovecraft or something.
Well, I basically begged her to please listen because she seemed like the kind of person who would definitely be into H.P. Lovecraft and dick and fart jokes, which is
oh yeah, absolutely.
what this podcast is about.
Hey, my mom asked me yesterday about how to listen to this, and she was like, "When does it go live? And what hour can I tune in?" And I was like, "No, it's not the radio."
Same thing with my mom. She's telling me about this podcart you guys are doing.
It's real cool. It's what the kids do.
That's right.
Right.
Actually, I've got a couple of shout outs too with I was working with a guy, Rob, from Crypticon, where we're doing a little puppet thing, trying to make a puppet for that, and he was commenting on how much he liked the show, and so thank you for that. And Bob Hall had a great comment that I think he'll appreciate. He asked, Vanessa, can you say dumb kid at least 4 times per episode from now on? It made me laugh out loud.
Oh, excellent. I had no idea I even did that, so you're welcome, Bob.
And, of course, a huge shout-out to Tony Kay, who lavished praise on us last weekend and how much he is enjoying the podcast. We really appreciate that. Thank you, Tony.
We will get you back sometime, and we got to find out some famous actor with a strange name. Pronunciation things we can go for.
Right.
Yeah, it's funny because sometimes I forget that our friends and people that we know in our lives listen to this.
Yeah, it's really weird.
It's weird when it comes up. So I recently had a birthday, and in one of the messages, somebody was like, "Hey, I really enjoyed listening to you on Strange Aeons," and I was like, "What? That's weird."
Yeah, that happened with a friend of mine I've known even longer than this guy.
Yeah.
Jamie.
Oh.
I met up with Jamie for dinner or something a few days ago. He was commenting on the podcast like, whoa, this is weird. This is a guy I went to, I've known since almost elementary school.
Wow.
Right.
So I was like, oh, geez, okay,
yeah,
cool.
None of my
like
friends like me that much, so yeah, so that's okay.
I like you that much, Vanessa. I listen to the show just to hear you.
Oh, that's so nice.
That's
well,
right,
I listen to the show just to hear you, and sometimes Eric.
I edit this, right? I don't know what happened last episode, but Vanessa just didn't have a damn thing to say.
You want all the mileage alone. It's depressing. Oof.
Vanessa, you have had a very busy couple of weeks. You want to tell us a little bit about DragonCon?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, absolutely. So So as everyone who's been listening knows, I've been working on a feature film, which has been super fun and awesome and exhausting and all encompassing. Feature film was supposed to start a month before it did. It got postponed by 1 month.
Oh my.
Which meant it overlapped with a vacation I'd planned to go and do Dragon Con this year. I've done like 12 PAXs in a row and I was feeling pretty done with PAX. So I was like, I'm going to mix it up and do Dragon Con. So I flew out to Atlanta completely exhausted. I think I got some kind of sleep at some point and then rolled into this absolutely insane convention called Dragon Con. I really didn't know what to expect.
Oh, this was your first time at Dragon Con?
It was my first time.
Wow.
I had no idea what I was getting into. But it's like, I want to say it's 6 or 8 different hotels, and it's the whole of the hotels are taken over. And, you know, they've just got tons of, like any other convention, they've got a ton of panels. They have artists, they have authors, they have a lot of events. So they have a giant cosplay parade, which I actually slept, which I hear is really good.
It is pretty cool.
I've got a reason to go back. There were like 6 people I saw dressed up as in Midsummer cosplay.
Well, you know, that's not a hard. You know,
it's not hard to do.
I really want to cosplay, but I've only got a week and a half.
Why?
I know.
Why? I don't. It's like, why would you? Okay. So I had no idea like what I was looking at, but there was a lot. There's probably about 20 plus people I saw dressed up as the Ships Ahoy thing from Stranger Things.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah, so that was great, like watching the variety of people dressed up like that. And then I also got to meet a couple of my semi-heroes, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So I paid a lot of money and got a picture with William Shatner.
Oh,
Oh,
neat.
nice.
He literally said hello, and that was it. That's enough. He was still alive, and I got a picture with him. So success. I didn't have to like Marilyn Monroe it. And then I also met Garrett Wang, who is from Star Trek Voyager, and he plays Harry Kim, and he's kind of my spirit animal in that like I've had in the past some real issues dating, and so a friend of mine said, you're like the female Harry Kim. And I've really taken that to heart. And so it was really great to meet him. And I was like, you're my favorite part of Star Trek. I didn't really tell him why he was my favorite part of Star Trek, just that I identify with the fact that you're like murdered every couple episodes for no reason. You have no idea what's going on. You never get like promoted beyond ensign. But you're like, I'm right there with you, buddy.
That's nice.
Very cool.
So overall, a successful trip for you. Are you going back?
I don't know if I'll go back next year or not. Unfortunately, PAX is a very important thing that I really need to attend because I do a lot of video game trailers. So a lot of my clients come through there. But I would really like to go back because there's so much to see and do. And I missed most of it. I spent probably 2.5 of the 3 days I was there just in the top floor of one of the hotels that just had the comic writers and artists, and I just stalked them. I just hung out with them ceaselessly. I like came back like day 3 and they'd be like, hey, how's it going, buddy? Like it was really lovely.
Oh, that sounds nice. Well, all right, guys, why don't we jump into what we have watched or read or whatever we've done the last week or so. Eric?
What?
You want to start us off?
Let's see. Well, I finally started watching Mindhunter Season 2.
Oh, so good.
Watched the first 3 or 4 episodes, I believe. And yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Good God. The Fincher, well, it's Fincher. So, you know, of course it looks good and it's incredibly well put together. But the acting is just astounding. And the characterization sometimes of the killers, you know, can be a little... I've heard some criticisms against it. But I like the guy who did The Night Stalker.
Yes.
Looked kind of makeup-y.
Yeah.
But he still looked a hell of a lot like him. I knew exactly who it was when he popped on screen.
Wait, I think you're talking about Son of Sam.
Yes.
Yeah, he looked shockingly like him. And I thought, well, this has to be a prosthetic or something because that guy, Berkowitz, was a weird, odd-looking dude.
I hope for the actor's sake it is.
Although he finally got a dream of a lifetime. He's like, yes, I get to just be me.
That's right.
On screen. So what was the criticism? Like, is it because they don't want to glorify serial killers or what is it?
No, just that weird criticisms, like they try too hard to make them look like the people or something like that. So they're
Oh.
using makeup instead of finding actors. It was just strange
Dear
shit.
God.
I think it's just that kind of criticism
Casting.
that anything that pops up that becomes really popular, you're going to have, 5% of the assholes out there
Man.
going, well, this is why that sucks,
It's
know?
so easy to like say something sucks. It's just so simple. It's like, oh no, you tried really hard. Screw you guys. I'm not giving you my money anymore. Go put it in my wallet.
Do not recommend.
Unfollow / just downvote. I hope she gets like daily notifications of like what we're up to. I think we should find her on Twitter.
It took me a second. It's like, what? Oh, you're going back? All right.
Come on, keep up, guys.
Well, I wonder if maybe her grandson actually listens, and that's how she was accidentally joined, because I did notice that she is a local to this state person.
Is she?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, awesome.
So,
Hey, more of those.
right. I've been watching the Dark Crystal series on Netflix.
How is that?
It is just like the movie, and it is affecting me just like the movie did, which is to say that it is gorgeous and just, stunning. Visually, it is something else, and I cannot connect with the characters in any meaningful way at all.
Excellent.
So it's this weird mixture of boring and I can't take my eyes off it.
Right. I think the first time and only time I saw Dark Crystal, I was 16 or 17. And I remember feeling that exact same thing. I was super bored out of my mind.
Yeah.
But I really loved watching it. I just couldn't, I really don't even remember what the plot was, like 0%. But I don't know, maybe, do you feel like it's more for kids?
It's very dark, just like the movie
pretty dark,
was.
yeah.
Well-
Basically, this is the story of genocide. If you remember, the movie was the Gelflings, the two main characters, were the last of their kind. Yeah. Well, they're an entire race of people in this, because it's set 1,000 years beforehand.
Oh, no.
And it's basically, I think, going to end up with the Skeksis,
A large slaughter.
basically destroying the entire Gelfling race. I hope that's
geez.
where it's going.
I think darkness, like dark content for kids, is awesome, and I think it's super necessary. Like I grew up with Secret of Nim.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a
Come
good
on,
one.
that stuff. It's great. That stuff embeds itself on your minds. If you want kids to not get in cars with dudes who have candy, make a creepy film about it. Do a Ferngully situation.
We're going to watch The Hitcher tonight, kids. Come on.
Jump on in.
I actually watched about 20, 30 minutes of the first episode and said, nope, I'm just
not
not
for you.
interested.
Yeah.
The what is it? The Gelflings, those are the sort of human looking ones.
Yes.
Are almost creepy.
Oh, yeah, they're very odd.
It's just like, well, this, I know, but boy, they did a great job of reproducing the look of the original as far as like the puppetry and the stuff like that. It's
So
like,
did
damn.
it's full on puppets then?
The characters are full on puppets, but there is an awful lot of CGI in it still. And for some reason, every time I see a scene that is clearly impossible for a puppet to be doing, I'm kind of pulled out of the show.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
it's a little rough.
yeah, I don't know why it's hitting me this way. I know some people just fucking loved it.
Right. Yeah. How many episodes is it?
So, 10?
10.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Standard Netflix series.
Yeah. Oh wow. Okay. Well, I'm definitely got it on my list to check out. If nothing else, I bet it's really interesting to look
yeah.
at how they did it.
Yeah. Lots of respect for the craftspeople on this. They did an amazing job. And there's no doubt about that.
Right?
Carrying on the Henson legacy quite well.
Absolutely. I mean, speaking of, we had given a shout out earlier to Langley West. Like, I love people who do practical effects, which is something that he also does. And he posts a lot on his Facebook about different craftspeople. And I just love those posts, just seeing how people carve things and build things and make them move into these squidgy little like organs spurting blood, or like mice that aren't actually mice, or whatever it is.
Yeah. We love Langley. Okay, we get it. We love Langley. Jesus Christ.
I didn't say anything.
Why don't you get on Langley's podcast?
Does he have one? Am I supposed to? What do I do?
Don't farm out Vanessa, man.
I only have so many hours in my week.
Yeah, that's about all I really got of interest of TV and stuff. But
Yeah, I continued my journey with Riverdale.
Oh.
Because it's like my show to relax to when I get off of the film, and I just need to unwind before immediately falling asleep.
sure.
And I finally hit season 3. And have either of you gotten that far in that show?
No. I bowed out about halfway through season 2.
Okay, so season 2 sucks.
Okay.
And that was a good decision. Season 3, okay, I would argue, is creepier than Sabrina. The Chilling Tales of Sabrina. So they start bringing in all these weird things like cults and this sort of odd like D&D group that has become like a kind of phenomena in their town, but there's like actual creatures in the woods that are controlling these kids and getting them to kill themselves.
Wait a second. Are you talking there's supernatural stuff going on in Archie?
Well, that's a question. We don't know yet. We know stuff is happening and it may or may not be supernatural. But that playing with that line makes it so much more effective than in Sabrina, where you just know everything is supposed to be supernatural, so you just go with it.
Right.
This is much more like, I'm not sure what's going on. These characters aren't normally in this situation, and it really is very freaky.
So you're waiting to see if Archie's going to pull the mask off the guy at the end and say, "Damn these kids."
It really is. I mean, that show has so much in common with Scooby-Doo anyway, but yeah, like I was really impressed. I was really thrilled that it took that turn, and it seems to have found a new place in season 3 that I'm really into.
Oh, that's right. Cool. Well, I might check that out. That sounds kind of fun.
Yeah.
It's interesting, though, that they're bringing a D&D type game into it and then dealing with it in a negative way, just like we did in the 80s.
It's totally harking back to that, too, because there's this moment where the mayor comes in and bans it from the town because these kids are like committing suicide and stuff off of this game, and no one knows what's going on, and some characters in the show are playing it and some aren't, and we just don't really know what happens and why throughout the game. And it really is like she stands in front of the whole town and she's like, I'm banning this. And it felt so much like that 80s thing. But, you know, what if it had been really evil, I guess?
Right. I might give that
I got news for you, kid. You missed out on a lot of nerdy years you could have spent.
I might give that a try then.
I would definitely recommend it. I was surprised because season 2 was just so awful. I just hated that whole kind of sharks versus not sharks thing. It was just
West Side Story kind of thing.
So West Side Story. And so like, I'm in a gang now for no reason. Everyone got a tat. Everyone has a tat. No one is not in the Snakes at this point. Nobody. I cannot think of a character who's not in the Snakes.
Serpents. Come on.
Sorry, Serpents.
The fuck?
Jeez.
I thought you were a fan.
Not really. I'm just watching it. That doesn't mean I'm a fan.
I saw a couple of very recent movies. One, Eric, you know I've been looking forward to forever.
Yeah.
Satanic Panic.
Oh, how was that?
It was shit.
Oh.
I thought it showed up on video on demand. I was all ready to watch it, and then I got your message going, I guess I'll do something else today.
I had such high hopes for this, and perhaps that is where I went wrong. It's because it just could not meet my expectations. It looks really cheap. The acting is bad, and the story, the writing is so at best, I guess. If you think that guys hitting on girls in a manner that is reminiscent of like the 80s guy who's hitting on a girl in one of those teen movies, he's kind of the...
I mean, like the ostensibly blonde character in a 80s teen movie?
Yeah, except that this guy in this one is kind of nerdy, and so he's hitting on her, you know, hey, you know what, I have that effect on women. In fact, that was one of the lines. They're standing out in the rain, and she's like, could you hurry up, I'm getting wet. I have that effect on women.
Oh, no.
And it's like, and that's a stupid joke, except that it's also a very, very old joke.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was like, well... okay, is this the level of humor we're going to have in this movie? And guess what? It was exactly the level of humor we were going to have in this movie.
That sucks.
So
it was written by like a 12-year-old kid, boy.
I didn't see who wrote it. It's Chelsea Stardust who directed it, and I was so looking forward to it because of her.
Very
Bummer.
But I don't think she wrote.
What else has she done that made you look forward to it?
She did one of those Hulu, you know, that every month.
Yeah.
Halloween or the holiday series.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And that was spectacular. Yeah. And this, I know this was a very low budget. It did have Jerry O'Connell and his wife, whose name is escaping me right now, Rebecca Romaine O'Connell now, I guess. And she was fine in it, but you could tell that the scene she was in, the acting was raised a notch because she's a good actress. But every scene she's not in, it was kind of shit, to be honest.
Oh, man, that's such a bummer.
It was a real bummer. But I followed it up with the film that everybody has been talking about, Ready or Not.
Oh, how was that?
I fucking loved Ready or Not.
Okay, I gotta go.
I thought it was so fun. It was one of, are you familiar with J.J. Abrams' Mystery Box?
Yes.
That's how this was, because you're watching the movie and then you think you've kind of figured it out, and then a character will say something and you'll go, what did he mean by that? And then it kind of twists into something else, and then it keeps doing that. So it kind of changes about 4 times through the movie.
Nice.
Wow.
And I just, every time it changed, I got more and more into it. And it's the basic Most Dangerous Game storyline with a person being hunted.
Love
Close
that
to my
kind of
heart.
story, yes.
These guys were smart enough to set it in a sprawling mansion, and it just worked so well, and I wish I had been smart enough to figure that out. So I loved it. Big thumbs up for me.
I've heard continually good things about it. I haven't really read one where somebody's, I mean, give it another week and those will start showing up because everybody's liking it.
Yeah.
But, I want to see that one.
Yeah, the lead is the gal from... I think she was the same gal from Better Watch Out, that psycho Christmas movie I love so much. But she was definitely in the Shudder exclusive Mayhem, which I loved a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And
No,
she
she's
was
awesome.
in The Babysitter, which a lot of people didn't like, but I
thought
loved.
it was great.
Thought
It was
very
super
funny.
visually fun.
Yeah.
I didn't enjoy it that much, but it had a lot going for it. So
Yeah, and she's just solid, and clearly she is a fan of the genre and continues to make movies in it, and I couldn't be happier.
oh, that's awesome.
Very cool. Boy, I went the other direction in something I watched. Not as far as enjoying it, though.
Oh,
No, I enjoyed the hell out of it. 1988's Slugs.
Oh boy.
what?
Have you seen either of you seen this one?
I think I
No.
might have seen it, but I don't remember anything about
It's
it.
terrible, but it's so awesome and it's terrible.
It's only from 88? Oh, God, I thought that was a 70s movie.
Yeah, so did I. I was kind of surprised. But it's 38-31 from the Rotten Tomatoes rating, so that gives you a good
Beautiful.
starting point. It has kind of an interesting story just in the producer, Juan P. Simón. It's a Spanish exploitation director, but he couldn't get his movies made the way he wanted to, so he pulled up basically Roger Corman in Spain and started his own studio and produced movies like Pieces and Cthulhu
Pieces.
Mansion and The Rift.
Oh, God,
Yes.
Cthulhu Mansion. Whoa.
That was one of the later ones, and how they fade. But Pieces is...
Random kung fu attack. Ending in a handshake and see you in class, guys. So beautiful.
Written by a guy, Ron Gateman, Jose Escrivilla, Sean Hudson, who was a contributor. Remember Matt Shaw came to Crypticon a couple times?
I remember the name.
Extreme writer from the UK.
Yeah.
He brought a movie to Crypticon 2 years ago called Monster. And the guy who wrote the book Slugs is based on was a consultant for him on that film.
Oh,
Like,
that's
all right.
crazy.
You need a consultant on a horror film?
Well, it's the first film he'd ever made.
Oh, I see. Okay, consultant in that way.
About
Okay.
filmmaking.
I see.
Starred Michael Garfield as Mike Brady. Which I thought was
No
adorable.
one forgets their name on set. Yo, Mike, you're gonna go over here.
But he also this guy played Rogue in The Warriors. I'm not quite sure who that
I'm
was.
trying to remember who that
Rogue.
is.
Yeah, I don't recall that name.
Unless they're one of the Warriors.
I don't think he was. I looked it up. I think he was one of the Baseball Furies.
Of course, the best gang.
The music in this is hilarious. It's like watching a bad 80s cop show or something like that. I mean, it sounds nothing like a theater score and sounds exactly like they just went, oh, this was rejected by Hill Street Blues. Let's use that. And so it's a lot of fun because they're so bad for, my own purposes. They're shot in Spain, but somebody was wearing a Seahawks jersey, Steve Largent Seahawks jersey.
Oh, nice.
So, okay, cool.
Of course,
Shout out.
Steve Largent.
Yeah. Who else do you wear the Seahawks in the late 80s?
I was going to say, geez, are you sure this was made in, 84 or something? Steve Largent, even in the late 80s, that's a little late for him.
Not if you're in Spain.
I guess not. Yeah. They're getting the games later. Is that what you're telling me?
There you go.
On VHS in bulk. It's a whole season for you, kids. Enjoy.
The director also specialized in effects. So the effects are actually pretty good. They're really gross and weird. Like the slugs like land on people's faces and their faces like go away and the eyes pop out and all this weird shit.
Wow. Man, don't mess with slugs.
And wonderfully bad dialogue. Like, so the guy comes up with a theory, goes to the sheriff and says, I think it's slugs. I know it sounds crazy. And sheriff's reaction is, that doesn't sound crazy. That is crazy. What's next? Demented crickets? Rampaging mosquitoes? You don't have authority to declare happy birthday in this town.
What?
What the hell am I launching?
What?
So,
you don't have authority to declare happy birthday in this town?
Yes.
That's such crazy good writing.
Oh, it's so fun. And
Let me guess, they ransack the salt plant and the beer, the brewery, and that's how they destroy all the
Just
slugs.
yeast and salt.
no, that would have been more fun. But they scientist guy invents something that they put into the sewers. And fairly impressive, explosive ending, actually.
Just slug guts everywhere. Like, you guys ever see that it's on YouTube, the video where in Oregon a whale washed up on the
God,
beach?
yes. I accidentally came across that one
It's
time.
pretty amazing, though.
There's an actual movie based around that.
Is there really?
And it's a lot of fun. It ends with the explosion of the whale and everybody being
gets-
covered in it.
Oh,
and I
it's
don't
so good.
believe
Sounds
that it's
familiar.
set in Oregon. The movie, I think, is set in Australia in the 70s. And
Oh, okay.
It's got a bunch of swinging families or something. If I remember correctly, I kind of loved it.
Oh, it sounds so magical. I mean, what else are you going to do with a washed up whale than just put dynamite in it?
I also watched, and I wonder if you guys did, the new Dave Chappelle special.
I have not. I'm still really on the fence about it.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of people complaining about it. My take on most of that stuff is everybody loves a comedian until they start making fun of them or what's important to them.
Right.
And since I don't care about anything, I laugh all the time, no matter how tasteless the joke is. I mean, I suppose if he starts making jokes about extremely handsome older guys with huge dicks, then maybe I'd be offended.
Of course.
But-
I mean, that's so close to home.
Yeah, at this point, he hasn't gotten to there. I thought it was very funny. He does make fun of, pick whatever you're passionate about. He does make fun of it. Mm-hmm. But I'm not sure why anyone is offended now, except that maybe we're more easily offended because he's been doing this all his life.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, how would people be offended? Everyone knows what they're getting into when they press play on Dave Chappelle, don't they? I mean,
I would think so, and I do believe that we are in a society where people are looking for things to be offended by, so that might be exactly the reason why you press play.
yeah, gosh.
I got to check this comedian to make sure he's being okay.
Right. I do think there's a lot of that in society now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like it's, I don't know. I feel like I'm really lucky in that I'm really shielded from so much of the, I don't know, the hate and the weirdness out there right now because almost all my friends on social media are all filmmakers. So they're all just liberal, open-minded, for the most part, good human beings.
Right.
So I'm like, where are all these horrible people everyone talks to? I don't see the Nazis. Okay.
I think that also, I don't know you very well, but I know you a little bit, and you're just generally a very positive person.
I try.
And I think that if that's what your outlook on life is, you're going to find that in life.
Yeah.
If you're a negative person, I think that's what you're going to find in life.
Yeah.
So that's part of the problem, I think, that the internet creates. What you're talking about is, I like this news source, so I'm going to get all my information from that.
Yeah.
So you create your own little bubble.
Yeah.
Create your own information bubble, and you miss, or you get into a feedback loop where this person backs up what I feel, so they make me
Right.
feel good, so I'm going to go back to them. And
it's funny because it is so easy to do. I subscribe to a fairly liberal British newspaper. I've found is just a little too liberal at times. I'm like, that feels really skewed. So I've been trying to diversify and like also get NPR, and I can't watch CNN anymore because they just say the same thing for hours and hours on end.
put 12 people on screen to
and
argue
they're so
about something.
angry. They're always so angry. I'm like, you guys got to chill. I'm not even that mad at Trump. You got to just take a step back there, son. Like, let's keep our heads about it. But yeah, like, I think you're right. I think it is a self-perpetuating, and especially now that the internet's becoming more and more intelligent, and that the places we're going follow us and make sure we get the exact content that we should be getting for our personality types. It's really, really a
You like
weird
this stuff,
world.
so I'm going to send you news about that. Like, well, you send me news about other shit.
The worst
too.
is when you go shopping around Christmas time. You're like, I don't have kids. I have nieces and nephews. Please stop sending me like diaper thing. Damn it, Amazon. To go in and check all the things to say that I never looked at it. Did you guys ever do that?
I've been, because I've got a new car and everything, I've been shopping around for different insurance.
Oh,
and
sure.
the thing is, I'm on those insurance sites, but then I go to Facebook and ads for all of those insurance sites pop up.
It's terrifying.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Nobody get a smart speaker. I'm just going to say it. If you guys are listening to us through a smart speaker, that's great. You can
listening.
keep yours, but everyone else, please get rid of it. It's just listening to you.
I've got 3 in the house.
Do you really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
One's right behind your shoulder right now.
The sink's listening to me.
Give it time. Give it time.
The microwave is just like, hello, Clarice.
How does my microwave talk again?
Hello, Clarice. Just like rattling the plastic.
All right.
Buttons are occasionally, me, popcorn's ready.
We've gone wildly off track, and I think we're all a little loopy. So why don't we take a little break? We will come back with today's topic, which Eric chose, adaptations.
She hates me. She's disappointed. I could see it in her eyes when we met. I've got to stop sweating. Oh, she looked at my hairline. She thinks I'm bald. She's thinking I would never in a million years sleep with this guy.
We think you're great.
Oh, thanks. Wow, that's nice to hear. To begin, coffee would help me think. Coffee and a muffin. I'm going up to Santa Barbara this Saturday, and I was wondering...
Oh.
I'm sorry.
So I'll just be right back with your pie then.
Drum roll, please. I'm gonna be a screenwriter, like you.
I'm putting in a chase sequence. So the killer flees on horseback, cops after them on a motorcycle. And it's like a battle between motors and horses. Like technology versus horse.
Susan, we would really like to option this. You want to make it into a movie? I want to know what it feels like to care about something passionately. John LaRoche is a tall guy, sharply handsome.
The book has no story. There's no story. Make one up. Okay, we open with LaRoche. No, we open at the beginning of time. Okay, we open with LaRoche. Crazy white man. We open on Charlie Kaufman. Fat, bald, ugly, paces. I've written myself into my screenplay. That's kind of weird, huh?
I guess we thought that maybe Susan and LaRoche could fall in love.
I just don't want to ruin it by making it a Hollywood thing. It's like I don't want to cram in sex or guns or car chases or characters overcoming obstacles to succeed in the end. She's crying. What's she hiding from us? I think you actually need to speak to this woman to know her.
People find love, people lose it. Every day, someone somewhere takes a conscious decision to destroy someone else.
This is our last dance. This is our last dance.
Who's gonna play me? Oh, I think I should play me.
Under pressure. Under pressure.
And we're back with Strange Aeons Radio and our Adaptations episode. Eric, you chose this one.
Are you going with this voice? Because Adaptations feels like we're highbrowing it just a little bit more than usual.
I don't know. I'm just fucking with you.
Because we have to have a book.
Right.
And let's discuss the books that we write, guys. Everyone, get out your pages.
Let's discuss the rules on this, though. We had decided adaptations, but we also decided you didn't necessarily have to have read the book to choose that movie.
Right.
Yeah, I probably should have asked that question earlier than last night at like midnight. But I figured, I could do a quick skim if needed.
I do love this about you.
I'll check in with just enough time to make sure I can't really accomplish anything.
If I said yes, I know that you would have done a nice quick scan on a book.
I really would have.
Yeah.
I really would have. I would have gotten up early and I would have gone to the internet and I would have clip noted it.
Right.
Or I would have changed my book to my film to something I would have read. Like been like, hey guys, I know Princess Bride isn't our usual fare, but I have read it.
It's a great book.
It's amazing. I love that book.
Anyway, so started off with looking around at a few things because, god damn, there's, tons and tons of movies based on books, obviously.
It's amazing how many there were.
Unlike the werewolf or the sea creatures or teen movies of the past few weeks, this was a very rich area to choose from.
Yeah, yeah.
So I kind of started diving deep, going, hold on, I'm going to dive until I hit something that hits me and just go with that, or I'll be researching it for 2 weeks and pick something at the last minute and go, well, I really don't like this. But I'm looking through, and 1983's The Hunger.
Sarah Roberts is in jeopardy.
Hey, lady, how about it?
Stay with her. Help her, for she has begun to feel the awful horror of the hunger. John Blaylock, the hunger, has given him everlasting life. Until now, pray for him. Miriam Blaylock. She feeds 1 day in 7 on the unsuspecting, and soon she will turn into something that you will never be able to forget. No matter how hard and how long you try, fear her.
What have you done to me?
Forever and ever.
And life signs terminate right here.
What am I going to do?
The timeless beauty of Catherine Deneuve. The cruel elegance of David Bowie. The open sensuality of Susan Sarandon. Combined to create a modern classic of perverse fear. Haunting, mysterious, sensual, strange, perverse, riveting. The Hunger.
I'm curious, have you read this book?
It's one I have not. I've read some. It's Whitley Strieber.
Strieber, yeah.
Yeah, I've read several of his books, but I don't think I've read The Hunger. If I did, it was quite a long time ago.
Yeah, it's very good. I like the movie better.
Oh, cool. It's out there to rent on all kinds of stuff. I think I own the DVDs. I watched it that way. It's got what I think kind of low ratings on Rotten Tomatoes, 52 from critics and 66 from fans. That seems fine, but 52 seems a little low. And a lot of the criticisms were very strange. But I'll get into that as we go a little further along. His budget was estimated at about $10 million, and it made $6 million.
Oh, bummer.
It was not a hit on its initial release by any means. Oof. It was Tony Scott's first film.
Oh, wow.
Brother of Ridley Scott. His second feature was Top Gun.
Right.
So it's like, all right. You failed up quite well. Your brother's Ridley Scott.
Right.
Well, yeah, but a lot of people didn't want to work with Ridley, so I feel like Tony must have had something shiny about him.
Well, The Hunger looks gorgeous. Yeah. It is one of the best looking films made. It just is so ridiculously lush in the way it's shot. The film was written by Ivan Davis and Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas wrote Lady Hawk and The Devil's Double. Have either of you seen The Devil's Double?
I've never even heard of it.
It's a film about a man who doubles as Saddam Hussein's son. It's actually very good.
Whoa.
Oh.
Saddam Hussein's The Double is played by Dominic Cooper from The Preacher.
Oh, interesting.
It's played by The Preacher. It's really a very good film.
It's breaking my brain.
What's that?
The
concept?
I'm trying to wrap my brain around this. It's just not working. What year?
I'm not sure what year that was made, but it was made while Saddam Hussein was still in control.
Okay. Ooh, all right.
Well, he himself had lots of doubles. Saddam Hussein had doubles
true.
all over.
That is true.
And his sons, I don't know if his sons actually did, but that's the premise for the film, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did. Huh. The first appearance of Willem Dafoe, kind of a cameo out there harassing Susan Sarandon when she's on the phone.
We can all say thank you for that because William Dafoe is just such a treasure.
Yes. The weird part is Tony Scott had to fight for him to be in the movie in this tiny little role. I think he has like 2 lines.
Why did he have to fight for it?
Studio didn't want. He's a weird looking guy.
He's a weird looking dude.
So they probably went, oh, this guy's a little strange. Like, he's playing a criminal.
It's going to be okay, guys.
It's
just
the
trust me on
70s.
this.
He's playing a criminal. We just hire weird looking guys to play criminals, right? But he's actually kind of oddly sexy. Oh, well.
You have very different taste in men than I do.
Let's see. But the stars of the film are 3 people I'm pretty sure you've all heard of. David Bowie, Catherine Deneuve, and Susan Sarandon.
Who's David Bowie? I've been wondering this for a while now. I'm kidding. I'm kidding, internet. I'm kidding.
The makeup, as he's credited, the makeup illusions by Dick Smith. Quality there. Nobody does age makeup like he does, and that's a pretty important factor in the film. And the DP was Stephen Goldblatt. I didn't get a lot of references for, but deserves a mention because it is just such a beautiful looking film. I didn't know this either. Whitley Strieber wrote 2 sequels.
Yeah.
One in 2001 called The Last Vampire, and one in 2003 called Lilith's Dream, A Tale of the Vampire Life. Have you read either of those?
I started The Last Vampire, and for whatever reason, as much as I love The Hunger, I could not get into The Last Vampire, and so I put it down and never to be picked up again.
It's crying somewhere on a bookshelf. Come back to me, Kelly.
I think it got sold when I did the move.
It's still doing it. It's just on somebody else's bookshelf. Kelly, I miss you.
Who the hell's Kelly? Also has a wonderful sound design, and the music is incredible. So I read through some of the negative reviews, and I don't know if these were, I didn't check the dates on all of them, but the Susan Sarandon and Catherine Deneuve relationship's a large portion of the film. And there's all kinds of strange negative reviews about the lesbianism.
Huh.
That it's like the whole movie was just created to have this scene with Catherine Deneuve and Susan Sarandon, which is kind of a short scene. It plays out like it's long, but it's...
Who cares? Because it's a great scene. I mean, both of them are strikingly beautiful in this movie.
Well, yeah, everything in the movie is, so why wouldn't that be? Kind of just like, that's an important scene, but it's not the only important scene, and it's not... Almost comes kind of, it's earned, but it comes a little bit out of nowhere, so it doesn't feel like the whole movie was leading to that moment. So to base your whole negative review on the fact that you think this movie was made just to have that scene seems really weird to me. Because it almost completely ignores David Bowie's part in the film. The idea is that you learn fairly quickly that Catherine Deneuve keeps taking lovers and tells them they'll live forever, where she's actually the only one that lives forever.
Oh.
They have a very extended life.
Yes, hundreds of years.
At some point, they suddenly start getting older, and then they go down very quickly.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like almost hours.
Wow.
So Bowie's removed from the film 2/3 of the way, half the way through the film. He's great in it.
Yeah.
He's really good in the film. Most of the reviewers that gave it bad things sort of totally ignored his presence in the film. So I'm just like, okay. And nothing about how he's being portrayed and ruined, and how you then go, well, is that what she's setting up with Susan Sarandon's character? It has one of my favorite opening scenes in film history. Bela Lugosi's Dead nightclub scene where they're Deneuve and Bowie, who's still young, are picking up a young couple to take back and enjoy, shall we say. It introduced that film to that song to the masses, you know, kind of, here's the goth scene. Here you go. Just amazingly well shot. Really good use of light and sound. There's even callbacks to the scene a little bit later on in the film where they just use clips from it. It's really wild. The movie's about how Miriam's Deneuve's characters love passing from one to the next, and she never lets her lovers go. They don't actually necessarily dry either.
Yeah, that's probably the one creepy scene is where you see the attic, which has all of her lovers.
Oh, that sounds cool.
It is cool.
Yes, it's like, oh, okay. That's not very nice. The word vampire is never used in the film.
I wonder if the negative reviews are because this is a vampire film, but it is by no means a horror film.
Right.
It's just a really sexy drama that happens to have vampires in it.
Yeah. And they don't have teeth.
Right.
They have these little onk pendants that have little knives in them that they pull out and poke in people's necks to drink from them. It's kind of different in that way. I did have one weird note about the music, though. When it gets later on, there's some kind of a weird rhythmic thing. Now, if you know, If you remember, way back in elementary school, where there's always that one kid in class that could put his two hands together and make fart noises.
Oh, sure, yeah.
That's what this note sounds like. Like, what the fuck is this note in here, man? Stop playing that.
It's bringing me down, man.
It's pulling me out of the movie. That being said,
sure.
Movie's well worth watching and freaking amazing and pretty much rentable everywhere. If you've got any interest in those three and kind of wonder how the hell Tony Scott became a successful director, well, he may not have made money, but he sure showed that he can make a movie look good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is just it's just dripping with style.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so much more interesting looking than Top Gun.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So who would like to go next with her?
Vanessa, you want to go next?
Sure. Yeah. So I chose a film partly because I went to the theater and saw it. So I was a little bit biased.
Wow, all right.
Yeah. I chose 1983's Christine.
Sonny, you ever owned a car before?
No. I just got my license.
Start her up. Her name's Christine.
I like that.
I saw you guys at the football game. How'd you ever get that car fixed up like that?
Oh, just plain old-fashioned hard work, huh?
Ever since he bought that car, he's been obsessed with it. And you know what else? They told us the man who owned that car last died in it. What do you know about that car?
I know that the guy who owned the car before Arnie, his daughter choked to death in Christine.
It's that car. I swear it's the car.
How's Christine coming?
Oh, Cherry.
That's funny, you know, because I heard she was totaled.
Well, after I cleaned up the broken glass, it wasn't so bad.
So what if you fix it up, you know, and he just comes back and does it again?
He won't do it again.
I know we were kind of trying to avoid Stephen King, maybe, perhaps, possibly, but it was my birthday, and it's John Carpenter. So...
Oh, wait a second. You just went to the theater to see this when it showed at the Cinerama.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, I forgot all about that. They did the Stephen King retrospective.
Yeah, I pieced out on work early and like went to go see it with my brother because I was just like, I have to do something fun on my birthday, and this was the thing that I chose. So
nice choice.
Oh, it was awesome. It was really great to see it in the Cinerama and just like see that huge scope of it. Just to give you guys a little bit of a background on Christine, it's a Stephen King novel, but also this is interesting. The book hadn't been finished being written before the film went into production. It was not published. Stephen King was at like the top of his career, so they were just selling the rights whenever they possibly could, raking in as much money as possible. There was a couple of different people who were going to attack Christine, /direct it, /star in it, /all kinds of things. In fact, John Carpenter was working on Firestarter, and they pulled him off of that to do Christine, which is pretty crazy. It has a 71% critic score and a 63% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. It was made for $9.7 million and it grossed $21.2, which is interesting because I feel like that's like nice little success there.
Sure.
But it got incredibly middling reviews, and both Stephen King and John Carpenter said they were disappointed with the response to the film. So
Carpenter took this. He wasn't pulled off a Firestarter for this. He was fired from Firestarter.
Oh.
And he took this as a job. They basically said, you owe us a film, and here it is. And so he was not all in on this movie in the first place.
Yeah, and I knew that he was kind of doing it because he'd literally just come off of The Thing, which had totally bombed with critics. Just people absolutely hated it. They said it's 15 million cost, and that one got 19.6 million profit. There were people saying like it was an instant joke. Like
talking about The Thing or Christina?
The Thing.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. So I knew that he kind of took it because he had to. So for anyone who doesn't know who John Carpenter is, he's a very...
Why are you listening to this?
Yeah, that's like Halloween, The Thing, They Live, Big Trouble in Little China, Starman, The Fog, etc.
In the Mouth of Madness.
In the Mouth of Madness. What's the one with Hell? Prince of Darkness. We don't have to talk about vampires or any of the other ones.
Ghosts of Mars.
Slash Assault from Precinct 13 in Space. True. It's the same film. So it's one of the writers who worked on the screenplay was Bill Phillips, who he did a lot of TV movies. In fact, that's kind of a running theme with this film. There's pretty much everyone involved did a lot of TV movies. It stars Keith Gordon, who is also in I Love Trouble, Legend of Billie Jean, all that jazz.
Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield.
There you go. Let's get the high quality marks.
Exactly. I got to make sure that people know what's up. He's now a TV director, and he's done episodes of Fargo, The Killing, Dexter, Homeland. The first thing he ever directed was The Chocolate War, which I think is pretty crazy.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. I actually saw that in the theater.
Did you really?
Yeah. It was first moved here. I'm going to see some of the moving small Twin Falls, Idaho. I was like, oh, there's weird arty theaters here. I'm going to just go see something at one of them. And I saw Chocolate War, City of Lost Children, and Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead fairly.
Wow.
Decent amount of times. Like, oh, I'm in for this stuff.
No kidding.
That's a great selection. It also has John Stockwell as Dennis, the friend / hero, I guess. It's hard to know who's who because we're kind of following one person and then we sort of switch gears. But he was in Top Gun as Cougar, so that's kind of his big role. He's now also a TV director. He did 4 episodes of The L Word. He did Blue Crush, Cheaters, and Crazy Beautiful. And now I think he's not doing a ton of anything. It's like, oh, where did these people come from? And then you also have Alexandra Paul as Lee, who was kind of like she plays the most intelligent, patient, and like overly perfect girlfriend for a total D-bag. So I don't know why. She's like really picky about who she goes out with. And she's the new girl at the school. And I don't know why she chooses the absolute loser who's just turned a page and now has a nice car, but still has like really bad hair. I don't know why, but she did go on to star in Baywatch. She was in 92 episodes of Baywatch. So
holy crap,
good career after that. But now does a lot more TV movies like Sharknado 4.
Hey, all right.
So yeah, so she had kind of an up and down. We have a couple of nice extra people in here like Robert Prosky, who plays this kind of car shop proprietor. I'm trying to think of what the right word is, but yeah, basically it's a body shop and he owns it. He was in Hill Street Blues, Miracle on 34th Street. He played the judge. He was apparently in 23 episodes of Veronica's Closet, which I don't remember him being in, but apparently. And Harry Dean Stanton, who is awesome. Yeah. And I'd previously seen him in John Carpenter's Escape from New York, which I also saw in theaters.
And virtually any 80s movie you would like to think of.
Oh, Alien. Yep, absolutely. Alien, Paris, Texas, Red Dawn. He's in some Twin Peaksy stuff too.
Red Dawn, oh my God. He has that.
me.
He has that amazing scene where he's in the fence and his sons come on the other side of the fence. They sneak over so they can talk to him because they can't be found. These are the insurgents, basically. And he's whispering to them, okay, I need you boys to get out there and get things done. Avenge me! Avenge me! If I'm the sons, I'm like, Dad, could you keep it down? We are wanted men. If we could just keep it down to the whisper, avenge me!
We can't if we get caught, you dick!
They probably were like, this is going to be so iconic. And everyone in the audience is like, please don't talk so loudly. So, yeah, this film is, it's such a treat. Like, I'd seen it before, and it's beautiful. It's just, you follow just this beautiful old car. In fact, you follow 28 models of this beautiful car.
Holy shit.
It was 15% of the budget on these beautiful cars. There's just some really great shots of being a teenager and following the world of teenagers and the crushing feeling of trying to come of age when everyone else around you is trying to really shove you down. The story of a total nerd who has like he has the nicest people in his life. I do not understand. He's got like the best friend ever who's like the star quarterback who just hangs out with him and gives him rides for no reason. He's just a good guy. He has like a school bully who's really, really horrible.
And about 33 years old, I think.
Is he really?
I don't know.
He does look so much older.
Looks like the teacher. Like, why is the teacher picking on this kid?
Nobody writes bullies like Stephen King, too. They're all switchblade carrying people who are willing to kill you in high school.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that. I was like, this is some scary shit. Like, he really did have the switchblade, and he switchblades his yogurt. It's just great. He goes straight into the lunch bag and just kind of moves the knife around and pulls it out, and yogurt just goes everywhere. It's a beautiful scene. But like, yeah, the bullies are just so well written. I mean, that's something I love about John Carpenter too, is he's so good at bringing characters to life. So I kind of feel like he's a great director for a Stephen King project.
I agree.
Yeah.
Because Stephen King, I feel like often the characters are just made to be so two-dimensional. But with Christine, like he really went hard on it. Yeah. After being beat up or something by one of the bullies, they're driving in a car, not the good car. The nerd is like, hey, I think his name's Arnie.
It is Arnie.
Arnie, yeah. He's like, hey, pull over, back it up, like out of nowhere. And the guy, the friend is like, oh, geez, all right. Pulls it up and like goes backwards. Kid just jumps out, runs into a field. I need this car. There's a car covered in like weeds and abandoned. It has like a little for sale sign. And so basically he falls immediately head over heels for this car. And no one can figure out why. It's just this old junker. This really creepy dude sells it to him. He comes out and he's like shirtless, but has this like body brace that's keeping his spine in place or something. It looks terrifying. He's like, you want this car? People, this car wants you. Secretly, it's cursed, and my brother died in it. I will reveal this information much later.
I just want it off my property.
I just want it gone. So he cuts him a quote-unquote deal, and the kid then takes the car and becomes really obsessed with fixing it up, making it beautiful. He bonds with it, essentially. The best friend is like, dude, what is the deal with you and your car? The kid starts talking back to his parents. He has no qualms with the ready to go to the streets with the bullies. He's totally ready to face his own fears. But it's overkill. It's like he's beyond just like coming into himself. He's come into something different. He suddenly has a girlfriend out of nowhere who is amazing and way too nice, and we have no idea why she's dating him, because she could be dating the footballer or literally any other guy in the school, as is pointed out to us. But she chooses Arnie for, I guess, his car. So there you go. She gets what she deserves by going out with a guy who has a nice car for that reason alone, I guess. Anyway, so things start to go crazy. The car is involved in a lot of murders and question mark. The car starts seeking revenge for people who are messing with Arnie, and on top of that, the car's extremely possessive over Arnie, so tries to murder his girlfriend by I'm a little confused here. So are there multiple versions of Christine? Do we know if there's more than one cut of this movie?
Oh, I don't believe so.
Okay.
Not that I've heard.
I remembered a very different scene than the one I saw, which was really freaky. So I remembered her being at the movies with him, and the car, he's not in the car, and it starts to come in around her and crush her, and she has to scramble.
No.
That doesn't happen. So instead, she like chokes on a piece of food.
Right.
And it locks him out. And so she's choking, and the lights go on the dashboard, and everything like gets really bright inside. And then some dude pulls her out and gives her the Heimlich. And she's like, oh my God, I'm alive, and I don't want to be in this car anymore because it's trying to kill me by choking me on food. I don't get that part. That part makes no sense to me. But then she bands together basically with the friend to try and either help Arnie get away from this car or just straight up destroy the car. And in the meantime, the car murders many, many people and fixes itself. That's also beautiful.
Yes.
Yes. The car is all kinds of supernatural. I really liked this movie. I felt like, I mean, I love John Carpenter anyway, so I have a soft spot for him.
Is this a revisit to the film then?
Yeah, okay, this is the second time I'd seen it.
Oh, okay. So.
Yeah, so I'd seen it the first time a couple years ago and had really, really enjoyed it. It was interesting because I feel like on a second viewing, I saw a lot more of it felt like toxic masculinity.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, the number of times they degrade women when discussing just have sex with her. You don't have to look at her. Like, that kind of talk is really, you just got to get laid, buddy. Don't worry about it. It doesn't matter. She's fat. Don't worry about it. It just doesn't matter when you get inside. Yeah, it's pretty crass. And I think that's also partly because it was not going to get an R rating. And so they upped a bunch of the language to ensure that it did get an R rating.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So they added in a few more curse words and the like. But I think it's also just so good at showing off toxic teenaging. If I can say that. Like that coming of age, but choosing who you're going to be, and that transition between being a child and being an adult, and how that can take such a curveball in your life, because you really do see that with Arnie. Like, he goes from being this normal sweet teen to just being in the middle of puberty, the absolute crazy asshole who's like yelling at his parents for no reason and like staying out late, losing his friends because he doesn't care about them anymore, and treating the girl bad. And it's just, I don't know, it felt like a really good allegory.
There's a couple of things in this movie that I really love. One of them is the fact that the car kind of speaks in songs.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so, and they're all era specific to the time the car was made. That's a 58 Fury, I believe.
It is.
And so when she's choking, what is it playing? Is it You're Mine and You Belong to Me? I think Richie Valens or something like that.
Like Only Mine, or And
The Boy Is Mine kind of song, something like that, but I don't remember what the exact one is.
Exactly. And when the bullies are trying to get in to beat up the car partway through the movie, it plays a song that's like, You'll Never Get In.
Yeah, I think it's Hear You Knocking But You Can't Come In, or
Yes.
something like that. The one scene where Arnie stands in front of the demolished car and it comes back to life and starts restoring itself is beautiful. Yeah. In the book, it's far more haunting because we find out that he has to push the car backwards, and as the odometer goes backwards, the car comes back to life. And he's been doing this for nights and nights. He's been pushing the car on deserted country roads backwards.
Wow.
And his back is being destroyed by doing this. And that is why the guy who sells him the car at the beginning has the back brace on, is because that's what he did with the car.
And that explains why, like, the odometer did keep going backwards, but it didn't really imply that he was pushing it backwards. Right. It was showing you that Christine was coming back to life.
Right.
But it didn't explain that part. I know the biggest difference between the book and the film is the origin of Christine. So in the film, Christine is born evil. So she destroys off the line.
Like
yeah, she kills her first victim, first two victims basically. One guy just loses like a hand. It's fine. The other guy loses himself and he's dead. But she has this like bloodthirst. Versus in the book, it's really the previous owners who caused her to become evil.
Right. In the book, it's almost like the car is haunted by the previous owner.
Right, yeah.
And in the movie, they've made it an evil car, which I think works better for the film.
I think it does too. And I love that they left this really great question mark of whether it was Arnie or whether it was the car. Because we know the car is supernatural. But by having all the scenes where Christine is attacking people, they blacked out her windows. So you have no idea if anyone's driving her or not. Right. And at the tail end of the film, Arnie comes out of the car. And it's like, oh, he was driving. So he was like, I don't know how much of it he was driving, but there's an implication that, yes, he was trying to run his girlfriend down. Yes, he did kill these bullies. Like, he was involved in a lot of this. He probably wasn't in the car when it was on fire, but who knows? So,
what an amazing shot, too, of that car coming down the street on fire.
I mean, in how many films where there's an inanimate object that is attacking people, does it actually feel real or scary? Like, I feel like there's not that many. And this film was so brilliant at making you feel like there was this unstoppable force that could get at you and would get at you in any way it could. Like when the one bully is kind of in this narrow gap and he's like, haha, the car is not going to get me in here. And he's, standing in this sort of like, it's almost like an alley, but it's just a closer space, and the car just forces itself and bends itself in there and just scrapes off its sides to get at him, to crush him. Oh, that's beautiful and awful.
Yeah. Good choice.
Nice.
I like that. Well, I chose, for my pick, a movie called Wolfen.
Orion Pictures presents Wolfen. For centuries, they have been hiding in the rubble of your cities. The concealed threat. The invisible terror.
Chris! You scared me.
They can sense the rhythm of your blood. Hear clouds pass overhead. See where you are blind. A force so deadly, it will tear the scream from your throat. Wherever you are, they are.
Somewhere in the world, every other day, a corporate executive is assassinated.
Team her up with Wilson.
Murphy or Mahoney, I'm comfortable with.
You're uncomfortable?
With surprises.
There's not a trace, not a speck of metal. Nothing softer could have ripped and ravaged like this.
Is it an animal?
Well, it ain't human. Do you realize how many people disappeared without a trace? Something out there might be eating people.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, get out of there!
What do you think it was?
You were being lured. We were being separated.
By what?
The carnivore. You got yourself some kind of meat eater. Meat eater.
What is it?
It's Wolfen. They're only animals. They might be gods. In their eyes, you are the savage.
Wolfen.
Does it have wolves?
Yes, and that's
Excellent.
part of the problem.
Oh.
Yes.
So
I was interested. I kind of surprised when you picked this one because I was like, I think you were totally in love with this film. I mean,
I'm not totally in love with this film, but I like a lot of it. It is one of my very favorite books. Mm-hmm. So I'll give you a little bit of history on this. It's from 1981. It was directed by a man named Michael Wadley, who was the director of a little film called Woodstock. It did fairly well for him.
Yeah.
It was written by David M. Ayer, who did a movie called Freeway, which I think you might remember, and then not a lot of other stuff. The Rotten Tomatoes rating for the critics, 75%. For the audience, 46%. The budget was $17 million, and the box office was only $10.6 million. It stars Albert Finney from Looker, Miller's Crossing, Aaron Brockovich, Big Fish. Diane Venora, who was in The Cotton Club, FX, The Substitute, Heat, and The Insider. A very, very young Edward James Olmos that I almost couldn't recognize. Now, what was weird is this is after Blade Runner, but he looks so much different in this film that I kept thinking, who is this young guy with the pockmarked face? He kind of looks familiar to me. It's got Gregory Hines in it.
Wow.
And Tom Noonan, who we
certainly
know
are
from
timing this movie in as far as the era pretty well there.
Yeah. So this is based on a Whitley Strieber book, again, called The Wolfen from 1978. It was Whitley's very first book, and it is spectacular. And it is about a pack of savage and super intelligent canine creatures that are stalking the city. Now, they're not werewolves. They're something else. They're super smart. They're wolves. They have opposable thumbs. They can climb. They can hold weapons if they choose to. And it's really fucking a great book.
Yeah.
They live secretly alongside mankind and kill off homeless people and stuff like that. And they've been living in deserted areas of cities or industrial areas or tenements that have been closed down, stuff like that. And at the very end, with the cops being attacked in public, these creatures are kind of revealed to mankind, and it's left with we're going to see these packs, and there's a lot of these packs around the city, actually band together, and there will be a war on mankind. Now, the movie does not go that route.
It's because I read this one. I have read, and yeah, you're right. It's a hell of a book.
It's so good, and I think I didn't like this movie because I loved the book so much. So in the movie, the Wolfen are targeting the people who are the money behind raising the abandoned tenements that the Wolfen have been living in. They are there's a kind of Donald Trump-like guy and his wife who had just gone to a ribbon cutting on one of these areas that they're going to be demolishing, and then they take off, they do a little coke, they are out this late night park and everything, and then they're suddenly attacked by these creatures. And these creatures are basically just wolves. They're super intelligent, but they don't have the opposable thumbs or anything like that. And I'm guessing that's a budget thing.
Sure.
Are they just like actually closer looking to dogs, or can they stand up?
They cannot stand up. They can't do anything like
They're
that.
just dogs.
The wolves that they have in this movie are fucking gorgeous. They're black wolves, and they're just so great looking. But they are just wolves. So they're living there, and there are a bunch of scenes that are lifted right from the book, but they're done a little differently, not nearly as creepy. One scene, which is right out of the book, that is in the movie is these cops who are kind of trying to investigate what's going on because they think that a pack of savage dogs have been killing people and stuff like that. And they're trying to kind of hunt down what's going on. And they end up at this church and they hear a baby crying. And so one of the cops is like, what the fuck is going on here? We got to get in there. And the other cop is like, this doesn't feel right to me. And he's right, because it's the Wolfen that can mimic the sound of a baby crying. And they're trying to draw these cops in. And yeah, there's some really, really cool shit in this movie. It is the very first movie to introduce what I like to call monster vision. Yeah. So like Predator POV would be monster vision. Any of those things where the POV of the creature is something a little different. Unfortunately, because it's the very first, it's basically like what was that old chroma key effect you could do on video?
That's exactly what it is. It's a chroma key where it brings out it accents certain colors, and it just sort of adds a color in that looks brighter than everything else.
So is it kind of like the Predator viewpoint where it's...
Predator is far more advanced.
Okay, but it's like a lighter version of that almost?
Well, Predator is like a heat vision, and this is just twisting the look of the film enough to make you realize, we're not looking at this through human eyes.
Oh, gotcha.
It doesn't make sense that this would be a better way to see the world, because you're actually kind of going, what am I looking at here? So if they had done something where they had like enhanced the color super bright, that might have been more interesting. But watching it this second time, I actually gained a lot of new respect for it. I thought it was a pretty solid movie, actually, and I'm far removed from the first time I saw it. And you haven't made it this deep into my house, but on the wall back there, I actually have a Wolfen poster, and I love the design of that poster. There's a lot of stuff in this. They decided to go with a more a Native American legend for the Wolfen on these, and there's almost a feeling like the New York Indian tribe. They kind of know that that's what's going on around them, and they're keeping the secret and not exactly helping the Wolfen, but they are smart enough not to get in their way, stuff like that. Even though I think the book is way, way better, I did come away watching this going, I really like this movie this time. Albert Finney is a fucking hell of an actor. Holy shit.
I saw this my experience for this one is the opposite of yours. I saw the movie first and liked it enough. I'm going, I'm going to read the book, which I think can be great because if you like the movie, then you read a book that's better. It just feels like it enhanced the movie as opposed to
does.
As opposed to the other way around where you really love the book and you see the movie and it's a terrible version. It's like, damn it.
Yeah. This ends with the two cops being chased through kind of a giant high-rise building that was constructed in one of the Wolfen's old hunting grounds. And they're being chased by these wolves, which is kind of cool. There's a neat little juxtaposition of this primal nature in all of this gleaming white spires and stuff like that. So that's cool. And Finney ends up destroying this miniature mock-up of what block is going to look like with all the buildings on it once they're done. He ends up destroying it and kind of, communicates to the wolves that this is not going to happen, so please let us live. And they do kind of let us live. But as the movie ends, that what you're hearing is all these wolf packs howling, and you realize, they're everywhere.
Ooh.
So it turned out to be, pretty good. I was really glad that I chose it.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it's really nice to revisit these pieces with like a little bit more perspective and time and less anger towards.
Right.
I mean, I need to rewatch the first Harry Potter film for very similar reasons.
Really? Okay. I love that first Harry Potter film.
I hate it because it's the exact same thing as the book, but very slightly crappier.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Sorry, Chris Columbus.
I kind of went the opposite way because reading the first book, I was obviously older than you were at the time, going, that first book is a kid's book.
It is. I mean, I read it when I was in high school.
She advanced way beyond in writing.
Yeah.
But that first one, I'm going, oh, wow, this is really a kid's book. So I thought the movie adaptation grew it up a little bit, I guess. But,
Yeah. Interesting.
Huh. Okay. Well, with that in mind, I think that we will wrap up this episode.
I got a couple mentions before we go.
Please do. Please do.
A couple new things. If you're familiar with the Letterboxd, it's called Social Media for Film Lovers.
I just signed up to that.
If you find me, I'm at Dead Eric on that, and I've started to put together a list of all the films we've talked about.
Oh, cool.
It's got 240 some odd films on it at this point.
I don't remember that many.
And okay, for the ones you've been involved, there's about 15.
Yay!
But so go find that, check it out, and let us know what you think. And we have a challenge. Well, I guess it's a challenge for me. Okay, we're always talking about rating us on iTunes and stuff like that. So we're going to give you incentive. You can either be really nice or really shitty to me. I will. If you go on iTunes and give us a full 5-star rating, no 4.5, no 4, full 5-star rating, and in the comments, list a movie you want me to watch and talk about on the podcast.
Ooh.
I will do that.
Whoa. Is this just like your easy way of figuring out films to watch during your week?
I doubt it.
This is going to so backfire.
Well, I mentioned Letterboxd. I've got, I think, 340 films on my to-watch list on that app alone.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
I'm not lacking in ones to watch. But we want some 5-star reviews. So if this sounds amusing to you, I'll be bluntly honest, I'm not going to, if you put Behind the Green Door or something like that, I'm not going to review porn films.
Yeah.
Send those to me.
Yeah. Send those to
Just
Kelly.
Dolly Parton movies.
He may not talk about them, but he'll enjoy them. But yeah, whatever you want. If you think it's super crappy, if you want me to see, what's the shark one? Arkansas.
Yeah. Arkansas State Women's Massacre.
You want to see if I like one of those, or if you want to go, you've never talked about Citizen Kane or Casablanca, feel free.
That's awesome.
All right. Well, okay, this means it's my choice, I believe, for the next week, and I've been thinking about this, and what I want to do, I'm not sure exactly what to call this, but in my head, it's shadowy government agencies. So you could pick a conspiracy-type film, or you could pick a film like, say, Firestarter, which has the shadowy government that's trying to recapture her, or anything along those lines. This is a wide open topic, so I can't wait to see what everybody comes up with, and I can't wait to hear what the people listening have come up with.
Sounds good.
Sounds awesome.
So, until next week, see ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Our show is recorded somewhere high above Naval Station Everett at the nexus of all realities and is engineered and produced by Eric Morgret. Our theme music is Strange Aeons Part 1 by the band Nightshade and is used with permission. Find Strange Aeons Radio on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and wherever fine podcasts are found.